Hey, I'm Tara and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited that you've joined me here today. This is your place for authenticity, vulnerability, teaching, branding, and performing. If you don't know, and you're new here, I am a voice teacher and opera singer turned brand coach. I am also biracial, and so I do share a lot about racial injustice, prejudice, and I am an activist. Let's dive right in. Today we're going to be talking about retention, which is so important as a private teacher, whether you teach at a school or a studio or you own your own school or studio. Retention is king. So today we're going to talk about what it is, why it's important, and then some tips to help up your retention. So why do I care so much about retention? Why is it important to me? Do I know about it? Yes. When I was teaching at a studio before I went full-time in my own teaching business, teaching and coaching business, I had the highest retention rate of any teacher there. My students typically stay with me 4+ years. The majority of my studio right now has been with me for over a year. That includes voice and piano students. When I take polls on branding clients, people don't want short-term commitments. They want long-term commitments with me. And again, I'm going to share tips for how you can get that in your own studio and your own business. So stick with me here. But first, we have to talk about what exactly retention is. What is it anyway? Well, retention is the basic definition of the word. It means that people keep coming back to you. Okay, people keep buying from you. So if a student has good retention, they've been with you for longer than a month, longer than 6 months. You can always build on this. The goal being that if you are paying to market, and that can include anything, right? So if you are paying for Google ads, if you're paying for Facebook ads, if you are paying lessons.com, if you have paid a social media marketer, if you have paid a brand coach like me, you want to get return on investment, okay? And how do you get that? Well, you get that via retention. So you need to calculate out how much it costs you to get that student into your studio. So let's say you use lessons.com. Typically, it's like $4 to $6 to do a quote for a student, okay? Now, if you're charging, let's say $30 a half hour, that's $120 a month. If you have paid a brand coach, or if you have paid a social media marketer that has charged you something like $2,000, let's say, you need that student to stay in your studio in order to make up that cost, right? And obviously this is compounded when you have multiple students, blah, 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 blah. But just for instance, let's take one student. Let's say they signed up because you have a really, really good brand, your social media is on point, and your back-end systems are awesome. And so they've decided to come sign up with you. And they're paying $120 a month. How long is it going to take you to get to that $2,000? How long is it going to take you to make up that return on investment? Okay, so retention is so important. And it's not just about the money. It really isn't. It is not just about the money. It's about the relationship that you continue to build with the students over time, right? Think about it. Many voice teachers, many teachers, music teachers in general will say the first 4 lessons really they don't matter. We're just getting a feel for each other. We're figuring out how each other works, right? So you want students to stay with you longer than that 4-week period. Now, does that mean that a student shouldn't leave you if it's not a good fit? Absolutely not. That's why there's so many different teachers out there, okay? But retention is important. Retention is important. Stop comparing student numbers and retention. In this world of online teaching and hustle culture and just everything, capitalism, we have gone into a period where to say you have 50 students is something that people look up to, right? People are like, oh my gosh, I want 50 students. But here's the deal. Why do you need 50 students? You shouldn't. That is a load that you don't need to take on, okay? Right now, I have about 20 students, and that is my cap. Because when I'm over that, I get into a period of burnout where I am not able to give my authentic energy. So again, retention is so important. These students that fill me up, teaching my ideal students for years at a time, that is the way to have a sustainable teaching career. Okay? So I hope that answers what retention is, why it's important. All right, let's move into some tips to up your retention. So I want to share explicitly here, which I shared a couple videos ago, about feedback, how to get feedback in your studio and why this increases retention. So when I was first starting out, about 6 or 7 years ago in teaching, I really wasn't asking my students, how do you feel about lessons? Why do you like lessons? Why don't you like lessons? All that stuff. And I really felt like it was a detriment to my students and to me, because when you're private teaching, there isn't that, there's not a principal. And oftentimes studio owners or heads of departments are not your instrument, right? So they could be a piano pedagogue and you could be a voice teacher, or they could be a trumpet pedagogue and you could be a violin teacher, So all of these different things that you're not really getting that accountability or that feedback from your students. So when I started teaching at a studio, I literally developed for the studio a system of feedback. And I have mentioned this to several teachers, and they are really, really excited about it. I've mentioned it on Clubhouse. I've mentioned it on Instagram. And they're really, really excited about it. So I will go ahead and make a feedback request for your studios. I will put down on paper all the questions that I asked, the exact process. It's just going to be a little bit of a small fee, and I will have that out in about a week. Okay, so stay tuned for that. If you want first access at it, or if you want it for free, join my Patreon membership. I will post it there first, then it will be offered to my email list, and then it will be offered to the public on my next YouTube video. Okay, just so you know, I will develop that. But feedback works, okay, because you are creating, again, a relationship with that student. So you just have a little interview process. It's the same as when you're vetting students when they come into your studio, whether or not that student is an ideal student for you. Okay, you just ask them a bunch of questions, you evaluate their answers, you talk about their goals, and you move forward towards that. And it really helps you be a better teacher to that individual student. And then because they are so engaged, they know that that's coming up, they're wanting to stay in lessons longer. It also, that process enables students who have quit or who have stepped away for a time to come right back to you, because maybe they tried another teacher and they're like, no, Miss Tara actually cares about my goals. Miss Tara can actually get me to where I want to go. Okay, so feedback, that's my number one tip. Get feedback. Start a system for feedback in your studio. If you are a studio owner of a multi-teacher studio, make a studio, an all-encompassing studio one. Ask your teachers to do it once a quarter. It is so, so, so important. And on the flip side, it helps with social proof for the interwebs. So you can post those quotes on your websites, on your social media, to get other students to sign up with you in the event that your retention isn't high enough. Okay. Another tip. Here's tip number 2. Be authentic in your lesson room. We have talked about this in every video for teaching so far. Be authentic in the lesson room. Okay? Don't just go in and be a robot. Go in and be you. Bring this energy, this Tara, this person that you see on YouTube, this person that you see on Instagram, this person that you see on Facebook. I'm the same in my lessons. Okay? Now, some of you know I curse sometimes. Do I curse in my lessons? No. Not when I'm teaching children, right? But it is so effective to just be me. Your students are drawn to your energy, particularly if you are using attraction marketing to get those students. Those people are drawn to your energy and they want to see it in the lesson room. So don't be afraid to be yourself. If you're quirky, if you're funny, if you tell dad jokes, put that in your lessons. Bring it to your lessons. People love that. People love it. Seriously, trust yourself. Bring your energy. All right. Here's the last tip that I will give you. Promote your students. Okay. So I have a monthly newsletter that goes out. And who do I feature? Not myself. I will put my events in there sometimes, but I feature the students. So when they have an audition, when they are in a play, even if it's not a musical play, when they are doing a sports event, when they pass out of a piano book, I put it into a branded document and I send it out to the entire studio. And then people just start engaging with it. And sometimes other students go to people's shows, obviously not right now in a pandemic, but it is so helpful to create that community aspect within your studio. So be sure to promote those students, shout them out. Mine is called Student Spotlight. It's really, really simple. I ask my students in the first week of lessons, hey, what do you have on the schedule for this month? Are you doing anything fun? And a lot of times they'll say yes. Right? Are you doing anything fun at school? Yes. Okay, tell me about it. And then all I have to do is type it up. Okay? So it is so easy to boost your retention. And it prevents burnout. It prevents burnout because you are not constantly having to market for new students. You just retain the students that you already have, the students that are your ideal clients. Okay? Retention beats student numbers any day. I truly hope you enjoyed this video. I just want to remind you that I have actually released a new freebie, which is 21 monetization ideas for musicians and teachers, plus a Zone of Genius exercise. That is a freebie. I will put it in the description of this video. You are also so welcome to join me on Patreon. If you have enjoyed this video, if you want more discussions on racism, women of color, people of color in the industry, people in the past, and also get-togethers, please join me there. There is still a $1 tier, and you can get all of that at the $1 tier, and I would love to have you in that community. Also, stay tuned. There are going to be more ways to work with me in the future, and so just get on that email list because they get first dibs. All right, I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks. I will be back very soon with a video of a performance with my patron and good friend Clara Byom, and we will be performing a piece by a woman, and that's the only hint I'm going to give you. So, see y'all later.